Girivaradari Jaya. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Jaya. Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachariyam Yamuna Tira Vanachariyam Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Jaya. Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanacharya Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Shri Shri Radha Madhava ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So, we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd Canto, Chapter 28, Kapila's Instructions on Devotional Service. Text is number 3. Please repeat after me. Gramya Dharma Nivritischa Gramya Dharma Nivritischa Moksha Dharma Ratistata Moksha Dharma Ratistata Mita Medyadanam Shashvad Mita Medyadanam Shashvad Vivikta Kshema Sevanam Viviktakshema sevanam Gramya dharma nivritischa Moksha dharma ratistata Mita medya danam shashvad Viviktakshema sevanam Gramya dharma nivritischa Gramya, conventional. Dharma, religious practice. Nivritihi, ceasing. Cha, end. Moksha, for salvation. Dharma, religious practice. Ratihi, being attracted to. Tata, in that way. Mita, little. Medya, pure. Adanam, eating. Shashvat, always. Vivikta, secluded. Kshema, peaceful. Sevanam, dwelling. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. One should cease performing conventional religious practices and should be attracted to those which lead to salvation. One should eat very frugally and should always remain secluded so that he can achieve the highest perfection of life. Purport. It is recommended herein that religious practice for economic development or the satisfaction of sense desires should be avoided. Religious practices should be executed only to gain freedom from the clutches of material nature. It is stated in the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam that the topmost religious practice is that by which one can attain to the transcendental devotion service of the Lord, without reason or cause. Such religious practice is never hampered by any impediments, and by its performance one actually becomes satisfied. Here this is recommended as moksha dharma, religious practice for salvation or transcendence, or transcendence of the clutches of material contamination. Generally, people execute religious practices for economic development or sense gratification, but this is not recommended for one who wants to advance in yoga. The next important phase is mitya medyadanam, which means that one should eat very frugally. It is recommended in the Vedic literatures that a yogi eat only half what he desires, according to his hunger. If one is so hungry that he could devour 1 pound of foodstuffs, then instead of eating 1 pound, he should consume only half a pound and supplement this with 4 ounces of water. 1/4 of the stomach should be left empty for passage of air in the stomach. If one eats in this manner, he will avoid indigestion and disease. The yogi should eat in this way, as recommended in the Srimad Bhagavatam and all other standard scriptures. The yogi should live in a secluded place where his yoga practice will not be disturbed. Om Gyana Timrandasya Gnanjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitamina Tasmai Shri Guru Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashnamutare Shrimati Bhakti-Vikas Swami Nityananda Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashnamutare Shrimati Bhakti-Vedanta Swami Nityananda Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurana Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Gramya Dharma Nivritischa Moksha Dharma Artistata Mita Medya Dhanam Shashvad Viviktakshema Sevanam. One should cease performing conventional religious practices and should be attracted to those which lead to salvation. One should eat very frugally and should always remain secluded so that he can achieve the highest perfection of life. So we hear here instructions of Kapila Deva instructing on devotional service, and when I read this verse and purport, I could see that I am the neophyte. I am at the very beginning of stage of life in devotional service. But why? Because Prabhupada says that we should not pray to Lord for some material benefit or economic development or sense gratification. But now and then I catch myself praying to Krishna for just these things. I know when, for example, when my daughter is sick or something, and then immediately I pray to Lord, please make my daughter healthy, that she recovers and that she's healthy. In that way, we could see actually this is not a proper way to pray to the Lord. Actually, we should pray for salvation. We could see that this is that kind of sense gratification, and Prabhupada is giving. We can hear in this verse that we should eat very frugally, a little bit, but we know that devotees are not following these instructions. And we know in Prabhupada's time also it was like that when Prabhupada implemented this Sunday feast, it was called love feast at that time. And then devotees, they would eat very simple for 6 days, and then when Sunday comes, when this is the big feast, they would cook a big feast, and devotees, they would eat so much that they would just lie down there where they were eating. They would just lie down. They could not move anymore. But we see that this is not recommended, as Prabhupada is writing in this purport. And also Ayurveda is recommending this, that we should fill our belly, just half our belly actually. Half our belly should be filled with food, and then one quarter with water, and then a little bit space is also there for air. And in that way we will be strong. We will not be sick, but we know that sometimes we are not following these instructions, and we eat too much. And also in the last sentence, as Prabhupada Prabhupada writes in a purport that yogi, he should live in a secluded place. But we are not also following that instruction because Prabhupada also wanted that devotees preach. And if we want to preach, then we need to be among people. We need to propagate this Krishna consciousness among other people. We want to attract other people to Krishna consciousness. And in that way, we know that Prabhupada gave us this mission of book distribution, of this preaching Krishna consciousness among many people. And in that way, also we will... also, Prabhupada gave this example that what is the real position of book distributor, and he said it like that you get such a benefit of just one day going out and distributing these books. It's the same like you're meditating for 1,000 years in secluded place, in some cave. So we can see what is the real benefit of that, that Prabhupada instituted that. But I also want to speak a little bit about previous verse, when what we discussed, what Ramananda Gopal Prabhu discussed yesterday about 4 classes of men, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra. There is one nice example explained in Mahabharata, that in this age it is very difficult to ascertain one's caste, one in which class you belong to. And this is actually mentioned by Yudhishthira Maharaj. When they were forced to live in a forest, and in their last year of exile in the forest, there was one snake that got hold of Bhima. Bhima was there, and he approached this snake. But actually this snake was a Nahusha king. He was cursed to become a big snake. And then Bhima, he was wandering in the forest, and this snake catch Bhimasena, and really coiled around his body and really tightly. And Bhima, he could not get free from this snake. And then actually this was very pious King Nahusha, and he just wanted to have exchange with Yudhishthir. He wanted to have conversation with Yudhishthir, because at that place Yudhishthir arrived, and he had very nice conversation with this snake, because Nahusha told Yudhishthir, I will release your brother, but you need to answer my questions. And we read that this is very nice exchange took place there. And one of the questions Nahusha, he asked Yudhishthir, how can you recognize the real Brahmana? And then Yudhishthir, he is giving these characteristics, these virtues of a Brahmana, that he is truthful, that he is austere, and that he is and in that he's describing these different qualities of a Brahmanas. And Nahusha, he gave reply, wait a second, but we also can find these qualities in a different people, not only in Brahmanas. And then Yudhishthir told him, but in this age, Yudhishthir told him, it is very difficult to ascertain in which caste you belong to, because everything is mixed here. And he told him, if you find these qualities, like truthfulness, cleanliness, austerity, if you find it in a person, then this person should be considered a Brahmana. Even if he is born in a low-class family. This is the characteristic of this age, that you can see that Brahmanas are born in a Shudra family. You can see that. And also some Shudras are born in a Brahmana family. So this is what is Yudhishthira explained. Everything is a little bit in this age not clear, so to say. But we see that sometimes even in that time that people will not, they did not follow this instruction of Yudhishthira. They did not follow this truth. Because we know that, for example, Karna, although he was a high birth, he was a demigod. He was treated as Shudra because he was considered to be in a Shudra family. We know that actually Karna, he was born as a son of Suryadev, and he was a brother of 5 Pandavas. But then Kunti Devi, his mother, she was very young, and she abandoned Karna because she needed to stay chaste. She needed to stay maiden. She was not married, and she renounced Karna. And Karna was accepted by a Sutta family, by a family of a charioteer, of one. His father was driving a chariot, and in that way, although Karna was a king, actually, he was a demigod. He was from high class. He was actually accepted as a charioteer's son, as a Sutta son, and in that way he was not treated properly, so to say, because when he came and he wanted also to compete on Draupadi's Swayamvara ceremony. This is this ceremony when Princess Draupadi was choosing a husband, and then there was one big contest was there, big competition was there, that you should shoot one target which is there up high. And then Karna, he also wanted to take a part in this contest, but when he approached that he wanted to take part in this contest, then Draupadi got up and she told everybody, I will not accept a charioteer's son as a husband. I will not accept Suta's son as a husband. And in that way, Karna, he was forbidden to take part in this contest, and he was forbidden to take opportunity to have Draupadi as a wife. So in that way, we could see that that even in that time, that was, as Yudhishthira is explaining, it is difficult to ascertain people's caste. And we know from histories that we have some examples when Kshatriyas, they were promoted to Brahmana class, we could say it like that. We know that we know this big so to say, misunderstanding between Vasishta and Vishvamitra took place. And Vishvamitra, he was a king in a kingdom. And he went hunting with his sons and his army. And he was very tired. And he came across Vashishta Muni's hermitage, Vashishta Muni's place. And he came to Vashishta Muni and he told him, we just want to take rest here. And Vashishta Muni, he invited the king and he greeted him very well. And Vashishta Muni, he had Kamadhenu cow. This is the wish-fulfilling cow. And this cow was a celestial cow. And this cow could give everything what Vashishta desired. And in that way, Vishvamitra, with all his sons and whole the army, Vashishta Muni, he could satisfy the king. Whatever he wanted, Vashishta Muni, he just think of it, and then this Kamadhenu cow, from her body, she produced so many nice foodstuffs that Vashishta Muni, he could satisfy the king. But then king, he became greedy. He was thinking, why this poor Brahmana, why should he have this wish-fulfilling cow, this Kamadhenu cow? So he tried to take this cow by force from Vashishta Muni. And then Vishvamitra, he tried to take this cow by force. And then this Kamadhenu cow got free from the king and approached Vashishta Muni with her tears in her eyes. And then told Vashishta Muni, please don't give me to the king. And then Vashishta Muni told this cow, what can I do? I am just a poor Brahmana. I cannot defend you. But then Kamadhenu cow told him, you just give me the word and then I will produce army from my body. And then Vashishta Muni gave her instruction. And then we know from this cow, so many soldiers came outside. Because you have to know, this is celestial cow. This is very special cow, wish-fulfilling cow. And so many soldiers came from her body. And then there was this big battle, it took place. And then Vishvamitra, King Vishvamitra, he was defeated. And then he knew, actually, that power of a Brahmana is very powerful. And he tried again to defeat Vashishta Muni. He wanted to defeat him again, and he was meditating for so many years that he was meditating on Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva appeared before Vishvamitra, and he satisfied him by giving the king different weapons. He wanted these celestial weapons. So he should defeat Vashishta Muni. And when he received these celestial weapons, he again tried to attack Vashishta Muni. And he was shooting his arrows at Vashishta Muni, these celestial weapons he used. But then Vashishta Muni, he didn't have a weapon. He did just have one rod, one big stick, walking stick. And he just lifted this stick. And then all these projectiles, all these weapons just got absorbed in this stick, this rod. And then Vishvamitra could see, I could not do anything to Vashishta Muni. And in that time, then Vishvamitra Muni, he acknowledged actually power of a Brahmana is much more stronger. Brahmanas are actually much more stronger than Kshatriya. What is the use, he was thinking. Jai Shri Shri Pralakshmana Singha De Bhagavan Ki Jai. Vishwamitra was thinking, what is the use of so many soldiers? Because Vashishta, he's alone and he defeated me. So he could see. And that place decided that he wants to meditate, he wants to elevate himself to the Brahmana position. And in that way, he meditated for so many years. And also, he installed his son that he should rule his kingdom in his place. And he meditated, he purified himself, and in that way, he reached this stage, Brahmana stage, we can say. He elevated himself to the higher platform, we can say like that. So we can see, actually, Prabhupada also wanted from his disciples that we elevate, that they elevate themselves to the higher position, to this, that all his disciples become Brahmanas. And in that way, he wanted his disciples to become purified. But at the beginning, a lot of Prabhupada's disciples did not have any idea what does this mean, actually. We know when Prabhupada at the beginning is 67, 68, that he was cooking. He had only few disciples. And he himself was cooking for his disciples. And sometimes disciples would help. There was one initiation ceremony, and Janaki Mataji, she was the sister of Yamuna, and she helped Prabhupada in the kitchen. But also she was a smoker at that time, and now and then she would go out to smoke, and then she would return to kitchen, and then Prabhupada would told her, go wash your hands and wash your mouth, and then she was helping Prabhupada, and then again she would go out and return, and again Prabhupada would say, wash your hands, wash your mouth, and then they would touch something, they would touch their mouth, or they would touch the feet, and then Prabhupada would tell them, go and wash your hands, and they did not understand why we need to wash our hands so many times, But Prabhupada, he had high standards, so to say, when cooking, and he tried to implement this on his disciples. And we can see that this process, it was very gradual, actually. Prabhupada was very merciful, because when disciples asked him, are there some more rules that you can teach us? And Prabhupada said to them, there are so many rules that you would faint. you would just go crazy if I implement so many rules at one time. So we can see that this what Prabhupada implemented, actually it was like very, very, very soft, very, very gradual transition. And also from my own example, also I also feel like that, actually, that I have a Brahmana thread, but I don't feel like I'm a Brahmana. We are nothing, actually, considering this real Brahmana class. I just consider myself like battle commissioned, so to say, battle commission is when sometimes in a war when there are not so many soldiers, you can say they are like soldiers are dying. So many soldiers are dying, and then the need is there that you promote some private, some ordinary soldier. You promote him on a that he becomes sergeant, he becomes captain. You can say, because nobody is there. So many soldiers died, so we need somebody in the sergeant position. We need somebody in a captain position. So then general would call, private, come here. You're now captain. You're now soldier. So I consider myself also like this. I have a Brahmana thread, but I'm not still on that position. We need actually years and years to become purified, to reach that level, Brahmana level. But still, the point is that if we stay in devotional service, if we stay with associating with devotees, and in that way we can be gradually purified, and we can become gradually we will come to that platform that we will become purified, and that we will become worthy actually of worshipping the Lord and serving the Lord and in devotees in that way. But we can see actually that from this example, this big battle, big conflict between Vashishta and Vishwamitra, but actually they become friends after this conflict. We know that Vashishta Muni, he was a family priest of Dasharat. He was the father of Lord Ramachandra. And we know that then when Lord Ramachandra was only a teenager, only 16 years old, then Vishwamitra, he was now the Brahmana, he was now Muni. He appeared at Dasharat's court, and he wanted to take Lord Ramachandra with him, because he was doing these different sacrifices, and then he was different demons were attacking his sacrificial arena, and they were polluting this sacrificial arena, and he could not complete his sacrifices. And in that way, he asked King Dasharat, please give me your son, so he can kill these demons. But King Dasharat, he was very attached to Lord Ramachandra, and he was thinking, how can he go to kill these great demons? He's only a boy, and he did not want to give his son, because he was very afraid. And he said to Vishwamitra, please, I will go with my army, just don't take my son. But then Vashishta Muni told him, he took him aside, because he was family priest, and he told him, don't worry about your son, just give your son to Vishwamitra. He explained, actually Vishwamitra, he's very powerful, and he can kill these demons by himself, only by mantras. But he wants to make your son famous. He wants to glorify your son. And in that way, King Dasharat, he became peaceful, and because Vashishta Muni, his priest, gave him instructions. Actually, don't worry, give Lord Ramachandra. And then we know from Ramayana that actually this is the truth, that Lord Ramachandra protected this sacrificial arena, and he killed these demons, and he became famous. And also, Vishwamitra, he gave different celestial weapons, different mantras to use these weapons to Lord Ramachandra. So we can see that although Vishwamitra wanted to defeat Vashishta, and he had a grudge, he wanted to take his cow and everything, Vashishta Muni, he didn't blame Vishwamitra. He was forgiving. He forgave Vishwamitra, and gradually they become friends. So from these examples, we know that the quality of a brahmanas was very high. They were very elevated person, and in that way, we know that we have actually a lot of work to do, because by grace of Srila Prabhupada and by grace of our spiritual masters, somehow we are elevated to this position, but we know that there is actually a lot of work to do. We have to work a lot on ourselves and become introspective and try to purify ourselves, that we can serve the Lord nicely, and we can serve the devotees in that way. And in that way, we will please our spiritual master and Srila Prabhupada. Okay. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Are there any questions or maybe some comments? Yes, Bhakta Bashar.
Haribol Prabhuji. Thank you. You mentioned at the beginning, we quoted Prabhupada how we should not pray actually for material benefits.
Yeah.
And I also catch myself every once in a while praying for, material benefit, economical development. But sometimes I try to be honest with myself, like how much is necessary, let's say, or the minimum that is enough for me to practice my devotional service properly without being disturbed, because if somebody is living on the streets or he's hungry or something, then he cannot practice much devotional service. So what are your thoughts about this? How much, until which extent should we pray for material development?
Well, maybe, at the beginning, maybe we are not on that stage, but actually we should attain that stage, that we will stop doing that, and that we will pray only for devotional service, only how we can satisfy the Lord. So this is the highest stage, the highest prayers that we can give to the Lord. Because Dhruva Maharaj, he went to the forest, he meditated. Why? Because he wanted a greater kingdom than his grandfathers. He wanted material opulence. But then when Lord Vishnu appeared before him, he saw that what stupid thing I did. I'm praying for kingdom actually. So only now I have your darshan. Yeah, I could see that this is actually only just. It's nothing. So we should strive for that platform. But because we are neophytes, because we are beginners, sometimes we pray like that. We pray for some material benefit. We pray for some shelter or for some protection, but we can see that actually it is not needed, because Krishna, he will take care of us, because Kunti Devi, she was such a great personality, great lady. She was the mother of Pandavas, and she got in so much trouble. and also 5 Pandavas, they would experiencing so much trouble. I mean, they were kings, and then at one time they were beggars. They were going in a forest. They did not have anything, and still Kunti Devi prayed, "Oh, please let it be more trouble." So we can see how elevated Kunti Devi is, because she knows in this miserable condition, I'm always thinking of you, Krishna. And I'm always praying to you, Krishna. And this is actually the fact. We need actually we need this suffering actually. Why? Because then we don't forget that this place is a suffering actually. It is meant for Dukhalaya Shashvatam, means a temporary place full of suffering. And sometimes we forget this. And we need this actually, a reminder that this is not our real position. And actually it is good that we sometimes go through this trouble, through this tribulation in our life. This is actually good for our spiritual life actually. That we know this Krishna, He's the only shelter, That way, Is that okay?
Is that the same as surrender or faith in Krishna? That ultimately Krishna will provide whatever is necessary to bring you closer to Him?
Yes. I mean, the more you advance, the more you surrender. I think the more you think that nothing is happening without Krishna's control. Just this is the thing. Gradually, then we will realize all we have to do is surrender to Krishna, and He will take care of us. This is the fact. Hare Krishna. Yes, Bhakta Bjorn.
Thank you for your lecture, Prabhu. I will ask the question and then I will translate it, so please wait a few seconds then. So my question is, I thought when you are born as a Shudra, not in a Shudra family necessarily, but you are a Shudra by your nature, is it possible then to elevate yourself, or is it not in your nature to be elevated to Vaishya or higher? Also die Frage ist, ob man als Shudra geboren wird, nicht in der Familie, sondern halt als ein Shudra, weil das die Natur von einem ist, ob man dann sich überhaupt erheben kann, weil es echt Natur ist.
Hare Krishna. Yes, it is possible. It is possible, and Prabhupada he gave us this process how we can purify ourselves and how we can come to Sattva Guna, to Yes, it is. I mean, it is definitely possible because we know even in one man's life, he can act for some time like a Shudra, but then after some time he can elevate himself and act through years. He can act like a Brahmana. We know because Prabhupada he gave initiation and he also gave Brahminical initiation to these you could say low class people, these hippies. They were dirty, they were intoxicated, they were having illicit sex, and they were drinking and taking drugs. And then Prabhupada, he just turned it around, and he made from crows, he made swans, you could say. That it is amazing how his disciples become purified, and then immediately they did not feel attracted to these lower qualities, to this lower propensity like meat eating, like intoxication, illicit sex. Immediately they could give this all up and then become purified. And it is only by Prabhupada's mercy, by his association, by his instructions. So also, but then on the other hand, this person, he's acting in that way for some years, and then something happens, he again becomes attracted to material nature, and then he can again fall from his position. He can again reject the association of devotees, and he can again start meat eating, intoxication. So we can see that again he can fall from his position, and he, again, what is his position? Then he's lower than Shudra again. So we can see that this is fluctuating actually, even in one man's life, that during some time he can act nicely, he can act like Brahmana, he can be clean, he can be purified, but then after some time he can again become spoiled, so to say, become attracted to this material nature. So we can see actually that, like Yudhishthir was saying, in this age is difficult to ascertain, but yes, it is possible, going from Shudra, you are to get purified, to get to the highest position, to the Brahmana class, and then again he can fall or he can stay in this position. That's why the association of devotees is very important, and also that we read Srila Prabhupada's books, and in that way we will never forget, we will never forget that what is the mission of life, that we should stay on this path, that we should stay fixed in our devotional service, and we should stay in this position. We should stay. This is actually training. We should keep training ourselves. Keep getting better and better, and in that way we will gradually advance. Hare Krishna. Last question. She can tell you, and then you can
Yeah.
Yes, there's the statement.
It's not working, your mic? Yeah.
Okay. So nochmal. If you, as a Krishna conscious person, you follow some regulations, you can liberate generations before yourself. But when the generations are on a level where they don't want it, or they are not acquainted to it, they don't want to get liberated. Sie wollen nicht befreit werden, oder? They are on a different level, so that they are not acquainted with this knowledge. How is that?
This is not working. It is. Hare Krishna. You're DJ, huh? Yes, but we have to know that the true position of a spirit soul, it is that we are Krishna's servants. So everybody, people, it does not matter if they don't know it, but this is the fact that actually they are servants of Krishna, and maybe they don't remember that, they don't want that, but actually spirit soul wants that, and spirit soul wants to return to the Lord. So if we become pure devotees, but this is it's not so easy to become purified. But if one becomes purified, if one becomes pure devotee, then it is said he will liberate this generation in his family. So it is not question, do they know, don't know it, this is not question. This is a question that this is good for them, and no matter of what, this is the actually real position of life, that they will, if they become liberated, they will be very, very honored and very, very happy in that position if they get liberated. So in that way, you know, if you get liberated, if you become pure devotee, that you benefited actually not only yourself but also your family members in that way. So actually it does not matter that they don't know it or they don't want it. It's not a question of that actually. This is the real position of spirit soul. Good. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.